Hey, man.
What's up?
Have you ever heard of Theo Albrecht?
Pretty sure it's pronounced Theo.
I thought it was Theo too, but I don't know. No, Theo. I think it's Theo Albrecht.
Probably Theo.
Theo Albrecht. He is a German. He was born in 1922, March 1922.
Okay.
Him and his brother. His name is Carl. Let me see. I don't know when Carl was born. I don't know if they're twins or if they're just brothers.
Okay.
No, he's the older brother. He was born in 1920, which makes some sense, actually, now that I think about it. That makes sense.
Think about the story?
Yeah, that does make a little bit of
Yeah,
sense.
I agree.
Yeah. You know what I did yesterday?
No. You don't get to roll in, start this late of our recording, and then be like, you know what I did yesterday? I want to know what you did this morning, because it's now it is the afternoon. We were supposed to start recording. We were supposed to start recording an hour ago.
We were not supposed to start recording an hour ago.
Okay. Me and Alex disagree. So what did you do yesterday?
Oh, yeah. Last night, Bree and I, we watched...
Who's Bree?
We watched Family Feud on just
This
cable.
is not worth it already.
No, it is. No, it is.
Yeah, me and my wife, we watched Family Feud. You know, we own a home. We're a couple. We have a kid. Now we watch Family Feud. And the best thing about Family Feud is that right after Family Feud's over, it's Finding Bigfoot is on. I know the programming. It's Family Feud. Steve Harvey.
Yeah,
yeah, it's the best one.
Of course, it's Steve Harvey. No, so we watched Family Feud just on we don't even have cable anymore. So it was literally we have the bunny ears. And so we just over the air Family Feud from basic TV, air cable. And it's been ages. Honestly, probably 5 years at the minimum that I've watched TV, just actual TV, not a streaming platform.
Sure.
And there was something about it. And I don't know if this is nostalgia or if this is genuinely different, but it was more relaxing to just turn it on and be like, this is what's on. And then to just sit there, and then they ended it and be like, what's next? And then it's oh, more of this. And then it just kept doing that. I don't know. Do you think that's nostalgia, or do you think there's something to that of I didn't have to go find what I was going to watch. I just turned it on and it was there.
That's interesting. I think that's why the For You page is successful.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
I felt much more relaxed at the end of the night. I also noticed that.
So I like that the nostalgia that you're reaching for is still TV. You know what I'm saying? It's not people are oh man, we used to just sit by a babbling brook and listening to the calming waters.
We used to go outside.
And you're yeah, I actually really like that. It's
I used to just watch
that commercial
TV.
for what's that service where you can send your poop off and it comes back and you don't have colon cancer, you're good. What's that service called?
That's so nostalgic.
What's that service called?
I don't know.
I thought you'd know. I thought you just
Colon
watched
mail?
it. Colon mail, sure.
Colon flicks. I don't know. But also, I noticed what's really interesting about this show, too. I feel like the internet broke it because...
Family Feud?
Yeah. It's very evident, and I think we've talked about this before, but it's very evident that so much of the questions that they ask, they're just trying to get clips for social, because it's oh, this is going to elicit funny answers that people are going to say, usually raunchy and not family-friendly answers in Family Feud.
Okay.
But I've just been thinking about, I think
that's Steve Harvey, though. I don't know if that's, I don't think it is, because I remember.
Is Steve the writer?
Well, I dated a girl in 2013. We were in college.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we would do is we would go to my parents' house and we would watch Family Feud. My parents would go to bed at 9. Family Feud started at 9. So that was our 30 minutes of just us in the living room hanging out.
That's great. Your parents go to bed at 9?
My parents still go to bed at 9, dude.
That's crazy.
Now, my dad wakes up, works hard for his money.
Yeah, well, I don't. What time does your dad wake up?
My dad wakes up at 3:30 in the morning.
Same.
And he gets grinding on some Subway toasters. You know?
I go to bed at 1 a.m. I wake up at 3:30 a.m. You don't see me complaining.
I go to bed at 1 a.m. I wake up at 1:15 a.m. I'm already ahead of you. I'm a week ahead.
I'm a week ahead by the time you wake up.
Yeah. You wake up, I've already lived 3 lifetimes.
3 lives. No, but it just feels and I don't think it's Steve Harvey because it's the questions. The questions.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying I think when they decided to take a more comedic approach, I think that's,
I think
because a lot of the clips you see on social media are from old episodes. I don't think they're engineered. You didn't watch a new episode of Family Feud. Are they still filming it?
Yes, they were.
I don't think of that.
They were. These were. I don't know if they were brand new episodes, but they were episodes that were recent enough because I could tell by like the celebrities that they had on. It was Celebrity Family Feud.
Oh, you left that detail out. You left that detail out.
But I could tell, like,
hey, should we try to get on Family Feud? Because what is it? It's like 4 people, right? 4 or 5? 4 or 5?
It's 5. It's
5 people.
5, yeah.
Okay. Well, there's 3 of us.
Okay.
So
we're close.
Wait a minute. What if we did me, you, Alex?
Alex has to wear a bag over his head.
And then you want to try to ask the ninjas guys if they would do it with us?
Yeah. There's 5.
Hey, Andy and Josh, if you want to go on Family Feud, text me back.
Text me.
I'm going to text you right now.
I texted you, and I'm assuming you didn't text back.
I'll text him right now.
I'm assuming you just haven't texted back.
Andy.
But are listening to this episode.
We should try to get on Family Feud together. No context, no lead in.
No lead in.
Just, hey, just found out they're still filming Family Feud.
We should do it.
You want to do it?
But here's the
thing about like a lot of those shows. This is such a long tangent, Tim, that's not worth it because you're talking about Celebrity Family Feud, and I'm just not going to listen to you anymore. How about that? So you're like, oh, here's something that's worth wasting time on. You took 5 minutes to do it. You started a timer.
I didn't take 5 minutes. I took 2 minutes.
5 minutes.
I took 2 minutes.
You put a timer on the wall so I can see how much.
This whole thing about emailing people or texting people. I don't know. Here's the thing. I feel
there's
like
no more things. There's no more things.
It's just weird to me.
Here's the thing. You tried to go. Shut up. Shut up. Stop. Thank you. You did a thing where you were like, okay, it's more relaxing. All right, that's one point that you've made about Family Feud. And then you were like, also, I think it's engineered for social media. That's a second point you've made about Family Feud.
Yeah,
you're trying to drop 2 theses.
I'm not. No. You've dropped enough theses. You've dropped enough theses in this conversation.
I'm telling you.
Too many theses.
I would like to move on.
I'm done with your theses.
I would like to move on.
No, but this is the real point. This is the real point I had. This is the one I actually wanted to talk about.
Third thesis.
No, this is part of the second
thesis. Go ahead.
You just haven't let me finish the second thesis. The second thesis is not done. There was a couple jokes that were said.
Okay.
That I think anytime pre-2010, the producers would have been like, we got to cut that. But they let it go. And I do think it's because, that's going to go viral. And so now the producers see this type of stuff and they're like, oh, sweet, this is gold because they know it's going to go viral. And I just feel like, and I can't believe I'm saying this because this makes me feel like such a freaking old fogey.
Like a prude.
But I'm just like, what happened to decorum? Like, what happened to just being like, yeah, we don't have to act like this.
What a loser! Oh, what happened to being appropriate? Huh? You know what I love about Family Feud? My favorite thing about Family Feud is that Steve Harvey wears a suit. How about that? What happened to people dressing up in suits and ties? Oh, what happened to decorum? Huh?
I just feel like there was
everything on social media is just so inappropriate and bad. And you know what? And now they've tainted Family Feud. That's my third thesis.
Here's the problem. It's not that it's raunchy. It's not that I think it's inappropriate. It's that it's raunchy and inappropriate for the sole fact that it will do numbers on social media. There was a point where it was like, we can't do that. That's not okay. We can't just put that out there in the world. That was an inappropriate thing to do. But now it's like, we can do this inappropriate thing and we can do a lot of numbers on social media. So we're going to do it anyways.
What I'm saying is that they were doing it.
I don't think they were. I can't repeat what was in this episode yesterday, but there's a couple things in this episode that I'm like, I cannot believe that this was in Family Feud. And they just ran it.
Okay. I'm not going to argue with you. I already told you. I've been part of the family for a while. That's what they call the fans of Family Feud. I'm telling you, I've been watching the show. We used to watch it every night that I hung out with that girl.
I know. There was times where they would let these little jokes slide through, but every question, there is...
Here's the thing. And you know what, Tim? And here's what makes me so mad, dude, is that it's one of those things where it's like, you refuse to not argue about something, man. And it makes me feel crazy. If I say something, your brain...
I don't
You
know.
just heard it. If I say something, your brain goes, nope.
Oh, no. That's not what happens. You're wrong about that. Let me tell you why.
10 minutes, Tim.
No.
10 minutes you spent on Family Feud, dude. I've been trying to move on for 4 minutes.
You have not. You've just okay, fine, whatever.
I
this
have
guy,
not. You heard it,
Theo,
right? You can
let's talk about.
You listen to this later. How about you this? How about you show this last 10 minutes to your counselor this week and be like, "Why am I so hostile?" Ask your counselor that.
I can tell you why I'm so hostile. I know exactly why I'm so hostile.
Everything I say, I go, "Hey, here's a thing," and you go, "No."
That's not true. I know that I'm doing it right now by saying that, but that's not true.
Tim,
I know how crazy it is that right now I'm saying no to that.
Okay.
But no.
Okay, buddy.
You want to talk about this Theo guy or whatever? Fine.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about Family Feud. There's just a lack of decorum in this country. But fine, let's talk about Theo Albrecht, the German guy.
Sure.
All right. So this guy was born in Germany in a time when...
So I saw this viral clip the other day, and I just couldn't imagine. I was like, wow, this is crazy that they just allow inappropriate stuff like this to be said on Judge Judy. Because, like, it used to be, dude, these reality shows used to be... primo, family friendly, above reproach. Nobody said anything inappropriate.
I never said that they were above reproach.
Tim, I've been trying to move on, man.
I came into this building with a blood pressure of 210 today. and
how often are you measuring your blood pressure? Let's just do the episode. Let's start over, to be honest.
Okay, so
this was a great After the Fiddle.
Theo.
You can access everything that we just said on Patreon.
Can't. This is in the live episode. Robert,
All
don't
right.
cut that. Oh, that's what I'll do. I'm going to kidnap the founder of Aldi.
Tim, why did we do so many bits on a story that's interesting? Quit doing this to me, bro. When you start an episode with a 10-minute stupid tangent and then you go, I'm going to kidnap the founder of Aldi. Things I learned last night. TILLN it.
Theo.
Hey, man.
Theo Albrecht. Theo. He's a German guy.
You see how you could just straight up cut that from the hey man, right?
No, you cannot. This is an important
11 minutes,
This
brother.
is an important conversation.
I just need audio listeners to hear that I'm trying.
No, you're not.
And I need video watchers to see.
I don't even know how to get back in this story.
I don't either, man. That's why I'm saying we should just start over.
No. So Theo and his family.
You're in a mood today.
I am in a mood today. You don't need to.
We agreed. And that...
It's gross. Jesus. Okay, you don't have to hold on my hands so long. Why are you doing this? Okay, are we just gonna... All right. Theo Albrecht and his family were born in Germany. I don't know where his parents were, but his brother was born in Germany with him.
Okay.
And his parents owned a grocery store.
I had stories I wanted to tell today in this podcast that I'm like, I'm going to save them for later because like you just wasted 10 minutes on Family Feud,
The point
bro.
of this podcast is us wasting time on stuff that's not worth people's time.
I was going to talk about my trip to Greece. Remember when I went to Greece for a day?
No. Let's talk about it. But let me talk about Theo for a little bit, and then you can spend 10 minutes on
Tell
Greece.
me more about Theo.
So
this is crazy.
His family owned a grocery store. It was a local little grocery store. This was the 20s when grocery stores were like, you can get 3 things and you can't pick them out yourself. The grocery store person has to pick them out for you.
Was that a thing?
Walk away. Oh, yeah. Did you not know that? It used to be.
No.
Okay. grocery stores used to be very highly specialized. And so your grocery stores were, this is your butcher, this is your deli, this is where you get your vegetables, this is where you get your general dry goods. And you would go to each of those different stores and you'd walk in, there'd be a counter and you would tell him what you wanted. And then the counter guy would walk around and grab all the stuff from behind the counter and then give you all the stuff and then check you out. Or they had like an interesting form of like credit too, where like they would add it to like a tab and you'd have a tab at the grocery store and then you go pay your grocery bill once a month. And you'd go to all of these different stores and do this. I don't know if this is how it went in Germany, but I know for the States.
Sure.
And so in Germany, this is 1920s, 30s. His parents had this grocery store. And then obviously the war happened and Germany was just flattened. And so their store was severely damaged, but wasn't completely destroyed. So they got to maintain the store. They were able to like build it back up, open it back up, and the war was, or I should say, the bounce back from the war was a opportune time for Theo and his brother because they took over the store, him and his brother Carl, and they realized, okay. Everybody's struggling right now. Half of our country got flattened. We lost the big
What year
war.
is this now?
This is post-World War II.
Okay, so 46.
Right after.
40,
yeah,
okay.
right. So yeah, 45, 46, something like that.
Yeah.
And so they realized...
So he's early 20s?
Yeah, they've taken over the grocery store and they realize, oh, everybody's struggling. Nobody can afford to live. And so they said, what if we have a handful of groceries that we sell that we expect to make a profit on, but then we have butter and we sell butter at cost because butter is really tough to get your hands on. And so because they chose to do that, they quickly became the prominent grocery store in their town because nobody could get butter.
So they had a loss leader.
Exactly.
Yes.
And they were one of the first.
If you don't know what a loss leader is, if you're like a little, dumb person and you're like, let us, the business professionals, explain to you.
Yeah.
It also helps because we're white men. Let me mansplain this to you.
Exactly.
A loss leader is, how do I even put this in a way that you would...
No, but I don't want to say they invented
It's like
this.
the Costco chicken. I hate when people are like, hey, the Costco chicken's a loss leader? Shut up. You know what I'm talking about?
They were one of the first people to have a loss leader in the business.
Yeah, we gotta keep it moving.
I don't
Tim. You're right. Thanks for pushing along. We can't do any bits about the Costco chicken. We gotta keep moving, man.
It was a dumb
16 minutes into recording. Keep going.
So they were one of the first people to come up with having a loss leader. I don't know if they were the
I don't
first,
think so.
but
Yeah, I mean,
very
for a
early
long, yeah.
loss leader. Yeah. And so they saw a lot of success in this early post-war period.
Yeah.
And over the next few years, this success amplified to a pretty severe level where then they were able to open up other stores. And I would show you a picture of this. They called it the... this is why I was like, oh, this makes sense that they're not twins because Carl got his name on the door. So it was the Carl Albrecht store.
Okay.
Later, they changed it to the Albrecht discount store when they opened up multiple locations.
Yeah.
And so they started spreading.
And this is all in Germany.
Yeah, this is in Germany.
Yeah.
Specific to like their little district and their little province that they're in.
Sure.
But over time, throughout the 50s and into the 60s, they began expanding outside of just Germany into and crossing all over Europe. And as they did that, their stores, they had the Albrecht discount store brand bought up. I think they were called Hoffman, or I don't know how to pronounce it. But they bought up a whole series of grocery stores that made them the largest grocery store chain in Europe, and then they rebranded their company to Aldi. And so, by 1970, they had just opened a couple stores in the U.S. They were all over Europe. They were the largest in Europe. They were doing $2 billion in revenue a year, and that's German marks. And
wow.
So, okay.
Andy texted me back.
What do you say?
Said that's an insanely good idea.
I think isn't Family Feud in? Don't they film that in Orlando, or do they film that in LA?
They might film that.
we could reach out to the Family Feud and say, hey, we've got an idea. We want to do a podcasters episode. It could be us versus Rogan and his guys.
I'm legitimately going to have my agent reach out to Family Feud. Like, that's like you're kind of joking, but I'm like, well, now I have an agent that can reach out to Family Feud
and be like, hey, we'd love to do this.
Because here's the thing about those shows. Like, you remember Haley and Al from our wedding? They were on divorce court.
Yeah.
They're not married.
Never. Funny.
Well, no, they're married now.
They are
married.
now.
Sorry,
but they didn't
weren't
get a
married.
divorce.
They weren't married when they went on that. My bad. They weren't married. And because it's just actors.
Yeah.
They just made up a story and then they went on to divorce court. I would love, if you see me and my wife on divorce court, we're fine.
Yeah. It's a joke.
It's pretty
a
funny.
bit.
It's really funny.
But where's the decorum?
You and I should go on
divorce court.
No. Well, is he still doing it? Hold on.
What are you talking about? Like one of those other judge shows?
Yeah, Judge Steve Harvey. Is Steve Harvey's judge show still
Can we just
happening?
do a run on all of Steve Harvey's shows? The Steve Harvey tour.
All right. I'm literally flying from this to Nashville to meet with my agent this week, and like we're going over my goals.
What are your
stuff.
goals? I'd be like,
I'll be like,
number one.
Anything Steve Harvey does, I want to be on it.
I want to be on all of Steve's things.
Yeah. Get me with Steve.
Yeah. I want to be Steve's new pet peeve. Make me Steve's pet peeve.
Yeah. This is 22 minutes, buddy. Let's go.
So I did the math, and I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if this
Why
is accurate.
did you say that? That makes me so mad. That makes me so mad. I hate that joke you made.
So stupid.
So on the cruise the other night, it was the PG show, which is family friendly. Here's the thing about this cruise.
Yeah, we know what PG means.
Okay.
Jeez. Tell your story.
Okay. So I'm doing the PG show. It's family friendly. And well, hold on. You're going to hear why I said that. The thing about a 12-day Mediterranean cruise, of which I only did 3 days, is that people don't bring their kids on those.
Yeah.
On the whole cruise, there's like 1,500 passengers. They had they call them junior cruisers, 18 of them.
Oh my gosh.
18
That's
junior cruises
crazy.
on this. So there was no kids on this thing.
Yeah.
So the PG shows were like, no one shows up to those.
Yeah.
Except for the old people who were like, I don't ever want to hear a cuss word or I'm going to die.
Yeah.
What happened to decorum? so Carnival used to have decorum and then they started letting these cussers on board. And, so anyway, cruise ship, more like cuss ship. So that's them, and they suck. I threw one of them over, and so she couldn't fight back.
She's too old to fight me.
She's too old to fight me. What's she gonna do about it? So anyway, so there were 3 high school girls who sat front row, and they were the only people laughing at this show. When I tell you that they don't set us up for success on these cruises, they gave me the 7 p.m. show. Back on boat is 6:30 p.m., which means everyone was in Italy. I was in Italy all day in the sun, hiking, doing all the stuff, right? Getting back on the boat by 6:30, no one's going to the 7 o'clock show. And they put us in the big theater, which is 1,500 seats, and I'm telling you, less than 100 people are at this show. So it was very rough.
Love it.
But 3 high school girls sat very front row.
Yeah.
And I was joking around with them, doing jokes. They were laughing, and they were laughing a little too hard at some jokes. Where like then I was looking at the other audience members, and I said, you know what? Forget all y'all. I'm here for the high school girl. And then it was one of those things where it was like, wait a minute. I said, because I'm thinking about how hard I just laughed at my own stupid joke. This is the hardest that we all started laughing. Where I was like, don't put that on the comment cards, please. No one fill out the form and go, Jaron said that he was glad the high school girls were at the show. We were crying, laughing. It was one of those things where like, there was no intended bit, but I was crying, laughing on stage, and it was the thing where we couldn't recover. The last 10 minutes of the show was us just goofing around, being like, please don't fill out the...
I love that.
I was like, could you imagine, though, if you guys did fill out the comment? Like, how would
Could you imagine, though? Could you imagine
if you did?
That's so funny.
Anyway.
Okay.
I was just laughing really hard on stage at that.
Yeah.
And I was laughing really hard at me going, just don't, you told that joke. But I don't know why it's so funny.
Okay, so
25 minutes. Tim put up this clock in the studio so I can see how long we've been recording, and I think he did it to try to get me to speed up a little bit, but then he spent 10 minutes on Family Feud, so I feel like I had to sneak in.
I've always had a timer on my computer.
Yeah.
But I don't use it. So I thought if it was where I could see it, then I would use it. So I did the math. I don't know how accurate this math is.
Yeah.
No promises. Because they were doing $2 billion top line revenue in Deutschmarks in 1970. The problem is...
Sounds made up.
The problem is that's obviously not US dollar. So all your inflation calculators are US dollar. So I converted that from Deutschmark to US dollar in 1970. Not sure how accurate the source I had on that was. And then I inflation calculated it. So roughly, adjusted for inflation, they were doing $50 billion in revenue.
Wow.
Compared to what we know. So they're
US dollars?
US dollars, yeah. So they're doing well. That's what I want you to understand. I mean, even if I just told you $2 billion, you'd be like, they're doing well.
$50 billion. You see this thing, the Larry Ellison thing yesterday?
Speaking of $50 billion, what a world do we live in? That's crazy. What are you saying?
Larry Ellison became the richest man.
Oh, yes.
At least for a minute. Yeah.
Because
of Oracle.
Did you see it wasn't
crazy, dude.
Was it him or was it Peter? That text that came out?
I don't like the name Peter, to be honest, because the way you said it, just first of all, it only reminds me of Homeward Bound, where the dying dog is like Peter. So every time I hear that name, you landed the R so hard on it,
Peter.
Where you go, is it him or Peter? And it's just like, use his last name, Teal.
Yeah.
As we call him, the Dark Sith Lord. Yeah. Just freaking, is that correct?
I think that's accurate. I don't know if I'm not sure if it was Ellison or Teal, but it was Musk. This text
we can call him Ellen.
Ellen texted him when he was buying Twitter and was like, "Hey, do you want to get in on this?" Did you see this text thread? I can't remember if it was Ellison or Teal. I don't remember. It was one of the two.
Musk reached out to one of them.
Yeah, texted them, and
they responded.
Leaked, and he was like, how much to get in on it? And he was like, how's 50 sound? And he was like, yeah, that sounds good. And he was like, just in a text thread, just like, yeah, I'd throw $50 billion in that deal. That's crazy. That's crazy that you're just texting someone and be like, yeah, I'd put 50 up for that.
Anyway, my grandma's car got hit at the storage unit, and I'm not going to get it fixed because it'll be like $500. And I'm I don't want to do that.
I'm glad you brought that up because on the way in, I hit the other side.
Honestly, I kind of want to. Here's what I did realize when I got there today, though, as I realized because they haven't repainted the lines. They repaved the whole storage unit, but so I'm parked further back than I was supposed to be. Mm-hmm. But like, still, someone hit my car and left. And the storage unit was like, we can't figure out who did it. It happened in a 4-hour window on a specific day. We have a gate log and 2 security cameras. Your car's not on either of the cameras, but we do have a gate log.
With 2 entryways with cameras on them. Like, it's a very obvious.
And there's actually one of the entryways is broken. So only one of them worked.
You could watch one camera for a couple hours and very easily figure that out.
She's giving me a runaround, which feels like she did it.
She did it, yeah, for sure.
She did it. I think she hit my car.
For sure.
I think the storage manager hit my car. And you know what? I'm fine accusing her of that.
All right, so they're doing really well, right? That's what I'm trying to...
54 minutes, Tim. I can't believe we had to cut out this 20-minute tangent you just did. That's insane. 54 minutes, buddy.
Oh my gosh.
Tim just went on this wild rant about how he does it. He was like, speaking of groceries, isn't it crazy that Walmart's prices change? And you're like, yeah, dude, that's how inflation works. That's how the economy happens. He goes, no. Arizona tea's been 99 cents the whole time. I'm trying to give you the AI recap version.
Yeah.
He just did 20 minutes on how Steve Harvey should be the next president. I can't believe this, man.
Okay.
I'm so mad. 55 minutes.
So there was also this guy by the name of Heinz Joachim Ollenburg, another German man, who he was an interesting guy. A little bit about him.
Say it again, Heinz
Joachim Ollenburg.
Okay.
He was an interesting guy because he was a lawyer, but you wouldn't use the word good before lawyer when you described him. Because
he was a lawyer. Okay.
Yeah, he was not qualified to be a lawyer. He actually forged a high school diploma to get into law school, which is a great start. Really good start.
Yeah.
And somehow, I don't know how he did it. And I'm gonna bet that he didn't actually finish law school either. But I guess he did.
Okay.
Somehow he skated through law school, got a degree, opened up a firm, but he did not have a good reputation at the firm.
Sure.
So most of the people he worked with were criminals, were the
Yeah.
type of people that he ended up working with because
Right.
they were the only people who were willing to work with such a bad lawyer. He also had a little bit of a gambling problem.
Love that.
And he was described by friends as strangely lucky, except for one day. One day he lost $300,000 gambling, which is a lot.
To some.
To most.
To the poor. Not to me. A rich.
And he borrowed that $300,000 from his girlfriend, which
crazy
to make up for that. But then he's like, I'm gonna pay you back. But he kind of had this list of people he owed debts to at this point.
Yeah, he's Ponzi scheming himself.
Yeah, and including his girlfriend.
It's a trap.
He also has like 4 girlfriends, and they're also all 30 years younger than him. So
hold on. He's got a girlfriend 30 years younger than him who has capital?
Yeah, so he's a lawyer. He's trying to live the high society life, but he doesn't have the money for it. And so he's taking on these.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is his girlfriend is 30 years younger than him and has $300,000.
Yes. Yeah. What?
Is she in her 20s, 30s?
Yeah, she's in her 20s.
So this is her dad's $300,000?
Yeah, it's a trust fund.
Okay.
But
I don't know. She could have made her own money. I'm not trying to be.
I mean,
listen.
It's 1970 Germany.
She didn't.
It's doubtful.
It was her dad.
It's possible. Maybe. Highly doubtful. So he calls up his friend one day. His friend's name is Paul Kron. Kron was, friend is probably too strong of a term. A guy he's represented in court a couple times.
Okay.
Who he's a convicted criminal.
Obviously.
His job, or I shouldn't say job, crime of choice. His crime of choice was safe cracking. He had done that for a while.
Yeah.
He didn't make enough.
People used to just keep stuff in safes.
Yeah, and he was the guy that
We've said this so many times. Like when you were used to be a rich person, people could just rob you.
Yeah, and he was the guy who would go in with the group of people robbing you, and he'd have the stethoscope, and he'd listen, and people would be like, "Are you a doctor?" And he'd be like, "Something like that."
Call himself the doctor. Sick.
So sick. And so he was the safe guy, and so he would break into the safes and get all the stuff. He had been arrested. He'd gone to jail a couple times.
Sounds pretty dangerous to me.
But he was now working as a mechanic.
Sorry, 57 minutes. Got to keep rolling.
The timer is not at 57 minutes. For the record, Jared's just making up these numbers when he tells you.
Why do you argue? Everything I say, dude. Okay, keep going.
Okay, so. Hey, thanks for watching our show. If you like it, a great way to help out is by being a Patreon supporter. Doing that helps make this show possible, but it also gets a lot of perks for you. You can get every episode a week early ad-free. You get access to a Discord where you can meet a lot of other people who love the show and actually hang out with Jaron and I every month on a hangout. And we're also in that Discord chat all the time, talking with people, talking about episodes and just random stuff in life. It's super fun. There's a way to get birthday messages, a free gift, merch discounts in there. So there's a lot of really great reasons to be a Patreon supporter. You get a lot of benefits out of it. And it also makes the show keep happening. So if that sounds great to you, you can go to support.tilln.com or tilln.com/support, or just tilln.com and search around until you find the links and become a Patreon supporter. We really appreciate you doing that. But if not, right back to the episode, right? This guy, he...
What?
Just freaking do it in the mic. If you're going to do it, just do it into the mic. Just do it in the mic. Just do it in the mic. Just do your bit in the mic so people can actually hear it. I don't think people can hear that. It's too quiet. He's going to have to do all this post-processing to hear your dumb little bit.
I'm not... just go.
Can I have one of those, though?
One of what?
The fruit snacks you're opening up under the table right now. Show me your other hand.
What are you talking about?
Okay, so this guy...
Which hand are they in?
Oh!
Okay.
So you put it on the seat.
My phone.
Okay. It's on the seat.
Jim, that's my phone.
Stupid. It's on the seat. I know it's not doing the phone bit. I know it's near your phone. It's over there.
Yeah, it's over there. Okay.
So
an hour and 2 minutes. Come on, buddy. Do the podcast.
So this guy, he got out of prison. He was being represented. He's been represented by Ollenburg a few times. And this guy, Paul Kron, he got a job as a mechanic, but after one of his big scores, he bought this plot of land. It was right on the lake, and he had this dream of building this like dream home on this land. But he is making less than $2,000 a month. Slowly you did that.
I'm gonna choke, dude.
Okay, are you good?
Mm-hmm.
He has this dream of building this dream home on the property, but he doesn't make enough money to build a home. He doesn't make enough money to buy a home. And so he's like, I need one more score.
Speaking of this, man. Sorry, this is an actual tangent. My neighbor, Fred, we've talked a lot about, they're our neighbors for life. This
is a good idea.
If we move, they move.
This is a good idea.
He wants us to rent a house together.
Yeah.
And so he scheduled a tour of this house that he found on Zillow. $9,500 a month is the rent, but it has a main house that has 5 bedrooms, and then it has like a second house in the back. It's a 1-bedroom little ranch style, like a mother-in-law quarters type house. And so he's found this $9,500 a month.
They call them
property.
next gen suites now.
Is that what they're called?
Yeah, it's because it's for your kids, because your kids can't afford to move out anymore.
Woof.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Sucks. So, which is unfortunately the future. Like, we're going to have multi-generational homes.
Yeah.
So, but this house was built by the people who, so apparently the small house was the main house, and then this couple built this house for their growing family, and it's this oval. The floor plan doesn't make any sense, but it's incredible. It was built in like the 60s or 50s, and so like the stairs, 2 sets of staircase go past each other.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It's like inside the house is beautiful.
It's like that mid-century modern style.
It for sure needs renovated.
Yeah.
It needs some updating, but it's like the floor plan is incredible. Mm-hmm. And Reagan's like, oh my gosh, this house is like, there's no house like this. This is a one of one. No other house looks like this kind of thing, right? The utilities would be insane.
Wait, did you actually go do the tour?
We went and did the tour. Yeah. Well, the realtor wasn't really there. The back door was wide open. Crazy. So we just explored the house. But it was a big house, and it was pretty, pretty crazy. And then the realtor shows up, and the
realtor's like, "What are you doing here?"
I actually feel bad because I don't think Fred realized. I mean, that my neighbor, it's like we're wasting this guy's time. Because like we're probably not going to rent this house.
Yeah.
And whatever. If it was an open house, sure. But he scheduled an appointment.
Schedule an actual tour.
I don't know. Yeah, I didn't like it. Anyway. So realtor shows up, and then I didn't care because the realtor was like, yeah, we're actually looking for a short-term 12 to 18 month because the person bought the property. He's going to tear both houses down and build a bigger mansion here.
Oh my gosh.
And as soon as he said that, Reagan went, all right, and wanted to leave. Because like you're going to tear down a house that has character and is beautiful and nice to put up a square mansion.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Like a huge giant house, yeah.
That sucks. Yeah. I'm so sick of house flippers. I'm really tired because like you're going to buy a house, you're going to spend $30,000 to take any kind of character, all the stuff that was put in the 60s, you're going to take out the tile, you're going to do all the, you're going to put in crappy stuff.
Yeah.
And then you're going to list it for $120,000 more to make a return on your investment. Then I'm going to have to buy this for an inflated price. Then I then
take out all the stuff you put in.
Another $50,000 to undo the crap you did. That sucks.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to buy a home and spend. My parents bought a home in their 20s. They spent the next 10 years longer than that. They spent 14 years slowly renovating that house.
Yeah.
Would love to be able to do it.
I remember very clearly in the mid-2000s.
Here I am eating my fruit snacks, living in my parents' backyard because I'm a millennial who can't afford a home.
Oh. I remember very clearly in the mid-2000s, a family at our church got into house flipping, and it was like right when that trend started. And I will say back then, it was less of like the cheapest materials, whatever. Like it was like, we're actually trying to make something of this home. But then 2008 happened.
Yeah, but
and
people
they got
buying...
stuck in one of the houses. Like they had to move into one of the houses that they didn't finish because they didn't have the cash anymore.
But people were buying homes that were like bad.
Yeah, they were buying
and
junk
that's
houses.
the difference.
Yes.
Is if you're like, I don't have a problem. You make
restore
investment. If you are buying a home that needs a ton of renovation, sure. That's not what's happening in a lot of these cases.
A lot of these people are buying
a lot of these cases are buying houses that need renovation for sure. Like your house, I would have to do a lot of work at that place. I'd have to do a lot of work at that place. Well, like I could buy it now. It sucks, but I would buy it and I would spend the next 10 years making it better.
Yeah.
You know?
You could move someone in for like 12 to 18 months.
Dude, the bathroom doesn't even have little covers and the light switches in that house.
That's actually true, yeah. We never bothered putting them on.
All the doors in the house are baby-proofed. Baby can't even walk yet. Everything's baby-proofed. Baby-proofed.
I've been teaching the baby
There's
how to
no need to baby-proof stuff when that baby can't go anywhere is what I'm saying. No need to have the door handles. That kid can't touch that door handle for several years.
Every morning we wake up and I take my baby and I put his feet on my feet and then I duct tape his legs to my legs. And so that way he's forced to stand up and then get used to walking.
That started normal, didn't it? That started kind of normal.
And it's like we're walking and he's like, ah, ah! And so he's getting really good at walking.
Yeah.
And then he throws up everywhere. Doesn't last long.
Everywhere.
I throw up everywhere.
Hour 15, by the way. Hour and 15.
So anyway, what I'm trying to say is Paul wants his dream home. Heinz owes a lot of people a lot of money because he's a gambler. He's a degenerate gambler with a fake high school diploma. And Heinz one day is reading a book because it's the 70s and they don't have social media yet. And I don't know where he got this book. Library, probably. He's reading this book, and as he's reading this book, somebody in this, whatever this book was, I don't know what the book was, but he's reading this book. And in the book it says, Theo Albrecht has $2 billion. And he says, oh, that's what I'll do. I'm going to kidnap the founder of Aldi.
Tim, why did we do so many bits on a story that's interesting? Quit doing this to me, bro. When you start an episode with a 10-minute stupid tangent and then you go, I'm going to kidnap the founder of Aldi, that's crazy. Start with that. I wouldn't have told any of the crap. Cut out the bit about the cruise ships. We wouldn't have done any of this stuff.
So he calls up his buddy Paul and he says, hey, you want to kidnap the founder of Aldi? And he's like, yeah, that sounds cool.
Dude, I'm texting Andy right now.
You want to kidnap the founder?
Hey, you guys want to get on Family Feud together? Also, do you want to kidnap the founder of Aldi with us? Just try to gauge interest. TILLN, Ninjas or Butterflies, criminals?
Criminals?
Crime.
That's the thing that unites every podcast.
What if that's how I start shaking hands?
You just don't close that.
It's good to me.
Sorry, he's for it.
Sorry, I'm more of a passive.
I'm a passive investor in this business. so I don't close my hands.
So funny. Oh, you fell for the old fake hand bit. It's a fake hand.
It's a fake hand.
I'm going to start doing that to people. That's crazy. Okay.
Okay, so
he's like, all right, shut up everything about this, whatever. Okay, so he's like, okay, we're going to kidnap the founder of Aldi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So one night in November 1971, he and Paul, they get together and they said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to kidnap him. And they said, good call. And then they got the phone and they called his wife. And they said, ring, ring. They called Theo's wife.
Yeah.
Theo's wife picks up and she says, hello. And he says, hey, Miss Albrecht, we just want to let you know that tomorrow we're going to kidnap your husband. Do not call the police. Do not try to stop us. As long as you follow our demands, everything's going to be okay. And we're going to release him in due time. And she was like, okay, so you haven't done this yet? And they're like, yes, we're doing it tomorrow. And she says, okay. And then she listened to them. She just was like, I'm not going to tell anybody. And so then the next day.
Could you imagine how mad I would be if I get kidnapped? And then later it comes out that my wife was like, oh yeah, they gave me a heads up about that.
Yeah, they told me they were going to do that.
They told me they were going to do that. You didn't want to maybe even be like. You didn't
want to maybe just be like, hey, watch out tomorrow.
You didn't even want to like give me a subtle clue of like, hey, today's going to be really weird.
Hey, watch your back today.
Okay.
If you're leaving and your wife says, watch your back today. So yeah, so he goes to work, does his work day. On the way out of work, they kidnap him.
How do they kidnap him?
They just grabbed him. They threw him in the back of his own car. As he was trying to get in his car, they threw him in the back of his own car, covered up his hands, covered up his face.
Back seat?
Yeah, the back seat of his own car. And then they drove out with his own car.
Here's the thing. You're way more kidnappable than I am.
Me?
Look at you.
Let's try it.
Imagine.
Let's hire a team to kidnap both of us and see who gets napped.
Okay, but imagine I can't get into the back seat of a car willingly. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't do that when I want to do it.
That's true, yeah.
Try to get an Uber is awful.
Yeah, you could get me in the back seat of a car that doesn't have a back seat.
Yeah, you will be comfortable in the back of a 2001 Ford Ranger extended cab.
I love the back of a Ford Ranger.
That's an out of context quote. If you can mark that down. I love the back of a Ford Ranger.
No, those were great. They had the sideways. We don't even have to explain. They were great. They were great. The back of a Ford Ranger was great. Stop it.
Hands up. Don't shoot. You're going to put me in the back seat of your car, officer? Tim, it's been an hour and a half.
So, no, it hasn't. So, they throw him in the back of the car.
Okay.
They pull out in the street. They're driving across town. And as they're driving across town.
Is he just in the back seat being like.
Yes.
Like.
Yes. Tied up and everything in the back seat.
But I mean, like out the window looking at other cars?
Well.
That's what I'm saying. Like.
I guess not. Because there's actually, we know that they leave. They're at like a stop sign somewhere else in town. The car next to him pulls up and they realize, oh, that's his brother Carl. And they see Carl looking. And later we know Carl's like, yeah, he's like, I saw that. And I was like, oh, that's my brother's car. And then he saw the people in the car. He's like, I guess somebody else has the same car as my brother. And then just kept driving. Didn't notice his brother tied up in the back seat.
Maybe that's a tactic. Maybe that's why JoJo Siwa has her face all over her car. Because there's nobody else who's got that. You know what I'm talking about?
Some people might. It's weird that your car looks just like JoJo Siwa.
Wow.
So they take him home. They park him in the garage.
Home to where? His house?
Heinz's house, yeah.
Okay.
They park him in the garage, and then they go inside, and then they're like, okay, well, we'll deal with him in the morning. And they just leave him out there. And the next morning they come out, and they get in the car, and they're like, what are we going to do? And they try to figure it out.
And he's been stuck in the car overnight.
They just left him there.
He was like, all right, I guess I'm stuck in
I'll stay in here. Yeah.
I'll stay in my own car.
Yeah, exactly.
And overnight he couldn't figure out a way to get out?
I guess not.
I feel like that's not a secure plan.
Well, it worked. And so the next day they're like, okay, this is not a permanent solution. We got to figure something out here. And so they're like, they realized we don't have even anything close to a plan yet. And they're like, we don't know how we're going to get a ransom. We don't know where we're going to put this guy. we don't know anything about what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And we don't know how we're going to transport him. So they start trying to figure out what they're going to do. And they end up deciding, hey, okay, we can roll him up in a rug and take him to my office, Heinz's law firm office.
He's not dead, by the way. So if you roll him up in a rug and you walk him through the office and he just goes, hey, guys. Hey, I'm in the rug. I'm in the rug. Here's the rug. And okay.
So
because he's not dead.
Yeah. So one of them went out and picked up a rug from a rug store. And then.
So these guys are dumb. How old are these guys at this point?
I mean, I think Heinz, I don't know for sure, but I think Heinz is roughly 50. Kron is younger. He's like late 20s, early 30s.
Okay.
And so Heinz is like, okay, you go out and get a rug. I'll wait for you here. I'll watch him. And then he goes and gets the rug. They come back and they're like, okay, we're going to have to drive him outside of town so we can transport him from this car to a Volkswagen, a larger like Volkswagen van.
Sure.
So we can actually roll the rug up and have him in there rolled up where there's room for that. And so they drive him outside of town. They roll him up in the rug and then they drive back to his office. The problem that they realized though was, oh, he's taller than the rug that we got.
So now he looks like a pig in a blanket.
Yeah, his head and feet are just sticking out this rug. And they're like, this looks more conspicuous. And so they just told him, they said, you're going to have to walk with us into the office. And if you say anything, we're going to kill you. And he was like, okay.
In front of everybody?
Well, that's what they told him.
I feel like, okay.
And so they go into his office building. They walk into his office building, walk him up the stairwell, past the elevators.
His office?
Yeah.
Whose office they're going to?
Heinz's office. Heinz's law firm office.
Okay. The law firm.
Yeah. And so they walk him up the staircase and then they walk through the hallway. He hears the sound of church bells and the streetcar outside. And then they walk him past this really long, thin bathroom. And then they take him into this like closet and they say, you're going to have to stay here. And they lock him in this closet. But conveniently, for Theo, they had set up like a living arrangement there. So there's like a little bed. There was like a desk. It was like relatively comfortable. It was kind of like a cheap Airbnb.
Where there's a bed. There's a desk where you can do your little drawings if you want.
Yeah. And so they came in the next day and they took his suit and they took it.
Don't worry about that skeleton in the corner.
He's the last guy. It's like very clearly, it's on the stick and everything. It's very clearly from a science class, but they got it and they're like, this is the last guy who didn't listen to us.
Yeah. That's what's going to happen to you.
It's the 8-foot skeleton from Home Depot. And they're like, that's the last guy who didn't listen. It's like, yeah, I believe that. So
he didn't fit in the back of his car.
Yeah.
So
the rug was way too small for him. So they leave him there another day.
2 hours.
They leave him there another day.
Okay.
They come back in the morning and they take his suit and they go get it dry cleaned.
So now this has been 3 days.
Yeah. They take his suit, they go get it dry cleaned so that way he'll look nice and fresh when they drop him back off.
Well, that's nice.
They're like, we want you to looking good. And then they leave him there and
at no point they haven't made any demands yet.
No.
And his wife knows. His wife's like, yeah, he got kidnapped. Yeah, hey, where's your husband at? No, he's on a retreat right now. He got kidnapped.
He's on a retreat.
I'm waiting for the ransom, I guess. They didn't really give me any details. They just told me not to say anything. I let it happen.
Yeah.
You know?
And so I'm just waiting for them to do what they're going to do.
He does a podcast with his best friend, and they were kind of like, oh, who do you think could get kidnapped? And so I just figured it was part of that.
I just figured it was a bit for the show.
Yeah.
But maybe this is real now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Should I be worried?
Worried. Three hours, buddy.
I thought you were setting up a bit. You said worried. And just
nope, you were taking a long sip, and I was just waiting for you to continue. 3 hours. 4.5 hours with the recording.
Oh, my God.
It's going way too long, man.
So...
I got stuff to do today.
So the days start ticking by.
Okay.
3 days, 4 days, 5 days.
They're feeding him, I'm assuming.
Yeah, they're feeding him. They're actually feeding him well. They're bringing him like steak and potatoes. Like they're feeding him well. And
he's like, I'm worth $50 billion. This steak is not medium rare. Like, I like the idea that you're being held captive, and yet still.
But you're still like, this is not good enough for me. And so... He's gonna spend
$50 billion.
So
I'm so mad that you saw that coming. I'm so mad that you knew that was gonna happen, and then you called it out in the middle of it. You didn't just let me do the bit. That makes me so mad. You see how easy it is to get him, dude? You're like a kid that like the peekaboo game gets you every time. So if I find little new peekaboos, I could be like, okay,
I'm just gonna use this a bunch. Okay, so 5 days go by and nothing's happened.
I
just
can't believe this show isn't growing. By the way, I can't. We just played peekaboo. It's 6 hours into recording. Golly, dude.
So he's like, we're 5 days into this, nothing has happened.
Yeah.
He's like,
he's like, hey, you guys need help. He's like, you guys know who to even ask for a ransom?
Well, he's sitting there and he's like,
Are they waiting for him to negotiate, I guess?
Well, that's what he says. He said, Theo, you are worth $2 billion. He says, you have built a grocery store empire. And the way you've built this empire is by going to farmers and distributors and negotiating lower prices so that way you can sell discount goods to the people of Germany and Greater Europe. And he's like, I can negotiate my release. So the next time they show up...
Oh, this is him talking to himself.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying that Heinz went into the room, sat at the desk, and was like, Theo, you have negotiated billions. Like I was like,
now,
what
this
is this?
Is him hyping himself up.
Okay. So he's going to start negotiating his release then.
So they show up again. This is day 5.
Okay.
And he says, hey, I'll give you guys $100,000 if you let me go. And they say, no, that's not enough. And they leave him there for 3 more days and they don't talk to him. And they don't talk to anybody else. And it just continues being this thing where they are not taking any action. They kidnapped this guy and they clearly
This
did
is
not
such an
have a plan.
ADHD thing to do too, by the way. You have a plan, you're like, let's kidnap a guy. You do it, you call his wife, you go, we're kidnapping him tomorrow. You go, you kidnap him tomorrow. And then you put him in your office, and then you kind of forgot.
Yeah, you're like, I got a couple cases.
And you're like, oh. You like open the closet to get something. You're like,
I forgot I would put you there.
Hey, thanks for listening to Things I Learned Last Night. It would do us a huge favor if you could just share this episode with somebody or just share the show. Tell someone you like it. That helps us grow the show. Another way to help us grow the show is to sport our merch, which is actually super comfy. We changed to a new merch supplier a couple years ago called Fourth Wall. You can buy our stuff at shop.TILLN.com. None of this is a pressure, by the way, but it just really does help us grow the show, and it helps get the word out, and people ask me about my hoodie in the airport all the time. So they're really comfy. Would love for you to support the show, and either way, thanks for being here. We're glad that we get to do this podcast. 100,000? No, I think I want to. I can get more. Hold on. I'll talk to you later.
Hold on.
A week goes by. You're doing stuff, and you hear a little thud in the closet, and you're like, "Is that a goat?"
Oh, it's that kid. It's that kidnapped. That person I kidnapped.
Golly. That's that man I napped. I man-napped that guy.
I man-napped that guy. So,
but you haven't asked anybody for a ransom. You haven't.
Yeah, exactly. They're just holding him. And so then they're like, we've had him for too long. We need to send a letter to his wife. And so they go in there and they say, hey, here's a piece of paper. Here's a pen. We need you to write a letter to your wife. But you're not going to write it. We're going to tell you what to write. So that way it looks like it's from your handwriting, but we're going to tell you what to write.
Okay.
So they dictate a letter to him that's basically like, hey, I've been kidnapped. I'm okay. Don't worry about it. Everything's going to be fine. I'll see you soon. But there was no demands in the letter. And they just shipped off the letter to be like, yeah, everything's okay. And so at this point, his wife is like, maybe I should talk to somebody about this.
Hey, police. 2 months ago, someone called me and said they were going to kidnap my husband, and I just haven't come to you. And honestly, it just became one of those things where it's like every passing day made it worse.
Yeah, it's like now it's been too long.
And then it's like, so I'm saying I couldn't do it. If I didn't do it the day after, now I've waited too long. And, so I'm really, please don't be mad at me. I'm pulling the Band-Aid right now. My husband's been kidnapped. They don't want anything.
They don't want anything.
Sorry.
I don't know why they kidnapped him. They're not talking.
I'm really sorry about this. Yeah. I'm so mad at myself.
So sad about this.
I'm so mad at myself.
There he goes doing that bit again. Here it is working.
7 hours. We've been recording for 7 hours. It's about to reset.
Literally been 2 seconds. We've hit the limit.
Okay, keep going.
So she contacts the police. The police are like, "Oh, we love this. We're gonna get on this. We love kidnappings." And so they put together a team to pretend to be his wife, and they go to his wife's house, also his house, and they wear costumes. And I don't understand. They wear costumes. They're armed. They get on a call that they record with the kidnappers. And
wait, they're in costume?
Like we gotta look like them.
I gotta get into character. That's just a theater kid that works for the police, dude. Oh, you know what would help? We gotta get into character.
We gotta dress like
they freaking Mrs. Doubtfire.
They method act. Hello. Can we follow her around for a week before we do this?
Theo's wife. And they're like, yes, hello, Mrs. Theo.
We've talked to recently.
We talked to you on the phone. Well,
2 years ago.
7 hours ago, and so we don't remember. Honestly, you don't remember what she sounds like. So the police. Okay, so they go to her house.
So they go to her house. They get the people to call. They get them on the phone, and they basically negotiate the release with them. And what they agreed to is a 7 million Deutschmark ransom.
Okay.
Which maybe I should just use the calculator. I was gonna try to do it in my head. I was like, this is not gonna work. Translates to, in US dollars today, this would be about $16 million.
Okay.
And so enough to pay his debts, enough to build this guy's house, and enough for them both to live off of for a little while after this.
Okay.
And they were like, yeah, I think that'll work. We like that amount. And they say, we can meet up at this one location, at this like nondescript location by this lake. And we'll bring him, you bring the money, and we'll do the handoff. And
we'll do the swap.
They arranged this meeting, and they were like, the police said, okay, there's a possibility that they're going to bring a body double. It's not actually him. And they're going to try to fool us into thinking that this is the guy, but it's not really the guy. And so they said, we're going to have a way to verify that it's really him. But we can't bring his wife. That's dangerous. We put her in the line of fire. That's risky. We can't do that.
So we need a body double.
We need a body double that knows what he looks like.
Okay.
No, they said, we need to bring his priest. We'll bring his priest along, and the priest will ask him questions to verify that it's him, that only he would know the answer to.
Okay.
It's like when you forgot your password.
What's your first dog's name? A little priest caller.
Hello, son.
Hello.
Hello, child of God.
What city was your mother born in?
And a lot of people don't know that that's how they came up with that for the internet.
I guess.
It's this case.
In 8 hours, buddy. Keep going.
So they show up. They get him out of the car. And it feels similar to Weekend at Bernie's, because the two criminals, they pull Theo out of the car. And he's like in his suit that they just freshly dry cleaned again, because it's been weeks since they got it dry cleaned last. He's wearing sunglasses at night, but they've also duct taped his eyes. You can see the duct tape behind the sunglasses because they don't want him to see. So it's just like squares of duct tape over his eyes. And he's wearing this. And they're like, that looks like him, but we can't see his eyes, so we don't know for sure. And so they say, Father, it's your job. It's
priest.
Father, you're up.
Send in the priest. Which honestly,
pretty sick.
Pretty cool.
So the priest walks
We need
up.
like an action poster where the priest is like ripping through the garb and is just like jacked. Guns.
Just loaded.
Cross guns.
Cross guns. I like the sound of this. So
like a BB Comics.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Tell the story, Tim. You always do this.
Oh my gosh. So the priest comes up to him and says, hey, a couple weeks ago, you got a new armoire. What type of wood was it? And Theo was like,
I don't know, dude.
Mahogany?
What the heck are you talking
what
about?
What kind of security question is that? I did not set that security question up. So he gets that question wrong. And everyone's like, oh, it's a body double. And he's like, don't worry, I got 2 more questions for you.
These guys aren't smart enough to think body double.
They couldn't get him in a rug that was large enough for him. So he's like, don't worry, I got a couple more questions. And he says, what's your wife's name? So really dialed back the severity after that.
He's like, okay.
Okay, I know that. And then where were you born? And so he's like, well, you got 2 out of 3. It's probably him. Couldn't figure it out. The armoire's got me really curious, but I don't know.
I don't even know what an armoire is.
It's like a closet.
No,
it's like a stand up. It's like a stand up closet.
I don't have a closet.
It's like a dresser, but as a closet.
Okay.
Because your building didn't put a closet in.
A wardrobe.
Yes. Yeah. It's another word for wardrobe. Yeah. Yeah. So they're like, yeah, it's him. And so they're like, okay, you pass us the guy, or we'll pass you the money. And they're like, okay. And they did the exchange. And then the police loaded him into the car. They loaded the money in the car and they left and they went their separate ways. And they immediately skipped town. They're like, we got to get out of here.
Yeah.
They checked their briefcases. Money was real. They said, okay, perfect. We're outside of town. I think we got away. Let's bury this somewhere. So they buried all the money because they were worried it was going to get...
Sure.
Yeah. The police took him home, took him to the wife and said, we're not sure if this is really him. 2 out of 3 questions, right? And they're like, look at him. And they took his duct tape off. Didn't have any eyelashes because of the tape. But then they're like, oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's him.
She was like, I'm pretty sure that's him.
I'm pretty sure that's him. I think that's him.
It'll do.
I don't know. It's been like 4 weeks. I don't really remember. It'll do. So he gets back the next day. He goes back to work at Aldi immediately. And then, not even kidding, a couple weeks later, he buys Trader Joe's while this whole case is going over.
Oh.
Yeah. And then they start expanding Trader Joe's. But then the police are like, well, we let those guys go, but our plan was like, we're going to get them. You know?
Wait, so Aldi and Trader Joe's are owned by the same people?
Yeah. Yeah, they bought Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's wasn't founded by them, but they bought Trader Joe's and then they expanded them. That's why they feel so similar.
They don't feel similar.
They feel very similar.
Mm-mm.
Trader Joe's feels like American Aldi.
Okay.
They feel so similar. Anyway.
You ever been to Trader Joe's?
Trader Joe's.
Great.
Trader Joe's feels like...
Talking.
Trader Joe's
don't talk bad about Trader Joe's. Don't say anything about Trader Joe's.
I'm not saying anything bad about Trader Joe's.
Okay.
Trader Joe's feels like if someone went into an Aldi and we're like, what if this was
a little better?
No, I was going to say a little harder to afford.
Dude, Trader Joe's is cheap. Are you kidding? You've not been to Trader Joe's?
Not the same as Aldi. Aldi's way cheaper than Trader Joe's.
Okay. I am telling you, Trader Joe's is affordable. Okay. We literally...
maybe it's because
my wife
the only
and I
Trader Joe's here
exclusively shop at Trader Joe's.
The only Trader Joe's here is in Leewood.
Yeah, and the prices weren't bad. It's not worth the drive over to Leewood from your house.
Maybe. I don't know. Anyways, so...
I'm not going to let you gaslight me on the prices at Trader Joe's versus the price. I can buy a dozen eggs for $3.49.
Yeah, that's pretty high.
At my Trader Joe's versus like $7 at Ralph's.
Yeah. Seems like you don't know how much it costs. So he's off buying Trader Joe's.
I feel insane right now. I feel insane right. Whatever, dude.
He's off buying Trader Joe's. And
you know what doesn't cost a lot of money? Supporting us on Patreon. That's pretty cheap. We made that cheap on purpose because no one wants to do it. No, people want to do it. We like them a lot. Thanks for doing it.
Yeah,
All
thanks
right.
for.
No, I already did the pitch.
Okay,
Just
yeah,
move
you're right.
on.
Thank you.
You can get less of this if you support on Patreon.
Yeah,
we promise we'll
we
give you the
cut this
episode with
part
all
out.
this stuff cut out.
Cut this
We
part
make
out.
the poors listen to this.
I'm sorry, you're too poor to get to the point.
7 hours we've been recording. Keep going.
So
I'm so mad right now.
so he's off buying Trader Joe's, and the police are like, all right, let's track those guys down.
Okay.
And so Heinz goes home to his girlfriend, and his girlfriend's really worried because she knows that he's off with all these other girls. She doesn't know that he kidnapped this guy.
Okay.
But he comes home one night covered in mud, and she's like, that's weird. There's no mud at your office. And she's like, why are you so dirty? And he's like, oh, it was a work thing. And she's like, I don't
it was a
believe
team building retreat where we all went out to the woods and then voted one person to die, and then we buried him.
And we buried him alive. he's
It really brought us all together.
I don't know if he's alive anymore. It's
We
been a
all
while.
trauma bonded over that.
Bonded.
Dude, people keep doing these breakout rooms or they go hire an improv team. No, dude, kill someone in your office. have your whole team come together and vote someone out.
Yeah.
And then trauma bond over that.
Yep. Yeah, no one will ever quit again because you got dirt on them.
Oh, I'm so mad that you ruin bits like this. I hate that you take funny stuff and make it unfunny. I really hate when you do that.
Okay, so
You got dirt on. It's really funny because it's like slinging mud on your coworkers.
So the police are like, okay, we're gonna track these guys down.
I just feel buried at work.
Heinz goes to Mexico, and Kron was always kind of the grunt guy in this whole job. It was very clear that Heinz was kind of taking advantage of Kron.
Yeah.
And so Kron got stuck with being the grunt guy. Heinz took $7 million and left and gave $10,000 to Kron.
Okay.
Which is not enough for Kron to build his house.
Right.
Not even close to enough for Kron to build his house.
Right.
The police, this obviously hits the news, and everyone's like, Aldi CEO kidnapped for a month, and his wife said nothing. And they're like, but we got him.
Be the main story.
Don't worry, we got him. We actually have the recording of the phone call with the crook, and we're going to play that on air, and anybody who recognizes the voice of the guy come forward so we can track him down and get him. And so,
really?
Yeah.
Do we have the audio of it?
No.
Okay.
So they play the audio, and Kron is Kron is at his parents' house with his sister, his adult sister, and they're just having tea, watching TV that night together, watching Family Feud back when there was decorum. And then this special comes on, and they play the sound, and the story goes, I don't know if this is true, but the story goes that the family all immediately knew that was him. And they all look at him.
You're all just sitting there, and you hear the little clinging of the teas, and you go, ting, 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 and everything just gets silent. And they all do the thing where they go, did you kidnap the founder of Aldi?
And so
9.
Why do you argue with everything I say? So he didn't even look at any of them.
Deny. That's Tim's playbook.
He didn't say anything. He didn't look at his family.
He just
left. He just got up and left.
He just goes, this is too long.
Oh, no. So he leaves, and his parents are like, yeah, I think we're going to have to call the cops on our son. And so they call it in. Meanwhile, the police get another tip on your kid.
Yeah.
I feel like you have to. Yeah, I feel like you have to.
For kidnapping where the guy's fine?
I think
for like something really bad.
Yeah, I think you have to. Because I think what happens inevitably, it comes back that you knew, and you also go down for it. But it's like you have other people you're responsible for.
Oh, so you're protecting yourself over your kid?
No, I literally just said you have other people you're responsible for. And so you have the other children, you have your spouse, you have your employees.
So I'm just making sure that if I did something bad, you would not help cover. You would rat me out because you're like, I have other people to be responsible for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You would rat me out too.
No. Unless there was a good enough reward.
Unless I would get something for it.
I'm not going to rat you out for the game.
Yeah, I'm not going to do this for free.
You think I like to help cops?
Yeah, hey, I'll tell you for $100,000.
Yeah, I'm starting to negotiate the reward. Oh, wait a minute.
Hey, yeah, the reward. I thought the reward is $15,000 for information on this. Would you guys do
All right,
20?
anyway. We've been here for 4 days.
And then they simultaneously
4 days.
get a tip from a shop clerk at an electronics store.
Okay.
Who recently sold a home stereo system and was like, hey, I'm pretty confident that the guy I sold this home stereo system to was the guy on that phone call.
How distinct are their voices? You know what I'm talking about? Like, how? Did he sound like this? Was he like, hey, you better pay the ransom? And then you hear it and you go, I'm pretty sure I heard that terrifying voice the other day when I sold that stereo system. How unique is your voice?
I don't know. That's a good question. So the police, they get a call from both of them and they say, let's go to the stereo guy first. So they go to the stereo guy, and what they did, that was what they always do, is they took note of all the serial numbers on the bills that they gave these guys.
Oh, of course.
And so then they said, show us the bills. And then he's like, yep, this is our guy. And so they went and they got Paul. They arrested Paul, and Paul, they're interrogating him, trying to figure out who the other guy involved was. Paul is like tight-lipped. He's not going to talk about it. Meanwhile, Heinz is on a plane to Mexico. After weeks of interrogation, there was nothing that they had to point them to Heinz. Paul finally cracks, and they managed to go get Heinz extradited, and they put him on trial for it.
Okay.
And so both of them ended up getting arrested. Both of them were sentenced to 8.5 years in prison. What's interesting is only half the ransom was ever recovered. So there's $3.5 million still out there somewhere.
Buried.
And the story is that both of them, they got released from prison. Both of them lived pretty low profile lives after this. We don't know a lot about what they did.
Sure.
We do know that Ollenburg recently died in 2018. And what is largely believed is that remaining $3.5 million is what he lived off of for the rest of his life. He managed to go dig that up wherever he hid it and live off that because it was only an 8-year sentence. And so the moral of the story is it doesn't matter how bad you're at it. It's only 8 years in prison.
8 years. That's how long it took us to do this episode. Wow.
Yeah. So Aldi ended up becoming like a giant brand too.
They still own Trader Joe's.
They still own Trader Joe's. They still own Aldi, obviously.
Trader Joe's?
Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's.
Trader Joe's, cheap, affordable, pretty decent food.
Trader Joe's, maybe it's not expensive, but it feels like it's trying to appeal to the rich.
Oh, I agree. We thought that. We thought it was expensive.
Yeah.
So we were shopping at Ralph's for a long time, and then we went to Trader Joe's. I don't remember why. We went to Trader Joe's because, I think I saw like a thing online that was like one of their pre-made meals. And I was like, let's go try that.
Yeah.
And we went in and I was like, wait, this pack of chicken is $3?
Yeah.
I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah, I think
we do our entire I'm not joking when I say that we took our grocery bill from like $300 a week to $120.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it is. Because what I did was all I ever bought there was a jar of salsa, and it was like $9. And I was like, this is a pretty pricey thing of salsa. It was decent.
$9 like organic salsa?
I don't remember.
There's jars of salsa that are literally 99 cents.
Oh, that's crazy. Because that's not what it was there.
Okay. I can't keep doing this with you. Cannot go back and forth. Can't do it.
I don't think you know how much it costs there.
Hey, instead of the fiddle lock, can we do the Family Feud theme song? That's Price is Right. Is that Price is Right?
That's Price is Right.
Okay, wait. Wait. Hold on. Hold on. No, that's
there you go. Yeah, you got it. That's it. That's very similar.
Hey, thanks for being here. Please share this episode with somebody else. Tell somebody about the show. Maybe not this episode. Maybe a different one. Maybe one where we stayed on track more often. Maybe share the Gardner Museum heist. It's an episode where these
40 minutes.
Tim. Oh my God. Let me off. I'm so sick of you right now. Garden Museum Heist is an episode where two guys stole a bunch of art that's still missing. And so they taped up the security guard in the basement. It's a great episode. We'll see you next Tuesday for another episode of Things I Learned Last Night.